know what it says about Eric Holder. He's someone who puts the issue of race front and center always. And I think that is, I don't think that's the mindset you want in an attorney general, especially in a case which obviously has a deep racial component to it.
Should he be gone?
Well, I don't think he's going to be gone soon in any event, and there's no realistic chance that Barack Obama is going to remove him. But I do think this. I hope he came back and reflected upon what it was he was doing. I mean, he was acting out there not largely different from Al Sharpton. And no one thinks Al Sharpton's got the temperament or mindset and on racial issues to be the Attorney General of the United States heading up the investigation.
All right, folks, that was Pat Buchanan on this show yesterday. Joining us now is David Clarke, Milwaukee County Sheriff. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. You've caused a stir, and I'm glad that you did by criticizing as well Eric Holder for what he did last week. And you know, I was so amazed and outraged at the time, and I had attorney Kendall Coffey, and we talked about it then, and I've been talking about it ever since. Going down to Ferguson, conducting himself the way he did, saying what he said about I'm a black man first, and then talking about how he's been, allegedly hassled by police over the years. You were outraged by that.
Yeah, and that's putting it lightly, I think. And I hope I caused a stir because I felt someone had to stick up for the fine men and women all across this country who put on the badge and uniform every day, risk their lives in service to their community, and they do it the right way. Now, in fairness to the community and the people we serve, I'll say this. Look, cops are not perfect, all right? We know that. They make mistakes. A few can sometimes be rude and overbearing, but that does not describe 99% of the police officers in the United States. And as a law enforcement executive, it's my duty to identify those officers that are not a good fit for policing and get rid of them. But with that as a backdrop, I want to say this about Attorney General Eric Holder, and it's with all due respect. For the Attorney General of the United States, and the governor chimed in too, and U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill, but for them to suggest that our law enforcement officers engage in some nefarious and systematic or cultural attempt to deny people their civil rights is a false narrative. I reject that false assertion about our men and women who keep our communities safe. We don't target race. We target criminal behavior. Now, he inserted emotion into this with some anecdotal claims of him being racially profiled, and he named a stop in New Jersey, and then he named one in Georgetown, which is in the D.C. area. And I said I would ask him this if I got the chance. In one of those statements, he said he was a federal prosecutor at the time in Georgetown when he felt that he was racially profiled. And I thought this: if he felt that some law enforcement officer violated his Fourth Amendment right, because that's a seizure under the Fourth Amendment for a police officer to make a stop. And if he felt this officer did this without probable cause, he had a duty as a federal prosecutor to make a complaint with the Georgetown police. He had a duty to make a complaint with the New Jersey State Police, if not for himself, on behalf of everybody in the United States who may have or in the future might have that thing happen to them. And that's why I said it's anecdotal. We don't know. So I think he fell short if that did happen, and I don't doubt that he was stopped, but I want to hear more about the circumstances, which is why I said he needs to further explain what he was talking about there. And if he did not make a complaint then, why is he bringing it up now?
Yeah, absolutely. And what does this do to the mindset of the police officers, not only in Ferguson, but this is the chief law enforcement officer in the country? When he goes down there and says these kind of things about a case where a grand jury has just been seated, based on what we know of the police's claim, he was hit and punched and attacked before this whole, as something that possibly precipitated him shooting the Michael Brown. What message is Holder trying to send, or in fact sending, to police officers by conducting himself in this manner and making these statements?
He sends an inflammatory message. He sends a irresponsible message to, like I said, the men and women across the United States who go out and serve their communities to make it a safer place. This is what happens when politics collides with public safety, all right, and why the two need to, as best as we can, kind of keep one from bleeding into the other, even though that's a difficult thing to do. But he had a responsibility, and I'm much in the same position as the elected sheriff of Milwaukee County. I'm not saying I'm on equal par with the Attorney General of the United States, but we have a responsibility to do the best we can to remain neutral in this stuff and be neutral observers, let the investigation play itself out, remind people that we shouldn't rush to judgment. Those are the statements I would have wanted to have heard from the Attorney General. Let's not rush to judgment. This is going to be an objective and a transparent investigation. I'm going to see that. I'm going to demand that. I would expect to hear that from him. All right, but to go out now and play this emotion game really leaves a sour taste in the mouths of law enforcement officers who may end up one day on the receiving end of an investigation by his office, and he's already tipped his hand to how he feels about law enforcement officers in the United States. And so, that's why I felt it was important for me to, because nobody else was doing it, standing up on behalf of the cops, as these politicians were so eager to throw cops under the bus for political purposes and a political agenda. And that's what I believe, anyways, just my opinion. I believe that Attorney General Eric Holder was trying to accomplish that day, and it was to embark on a political agenda.
And that sour taste, obviously, you're African American. That sour taste from officers you've talked to transcends race.
Oh, without a doubt. I've heard from officers all across the country, and I could prove that. If there's anybody out there, I'm not suggesting you won't, but who thinks that I'm just going to make this up. I've heard from officers all across the country who have thanked me, and I know the position they're in. Cops, the street cop can't say anything. They can't engage in a back and forth publicly in these political waters, because that's what it is. I tell my deputies, I say, you guys go out, force the law fairly by the Constitution. You let me deal with the politics, and I say that because I'm an elected official.
And David, you're doing a wonderful job, and thanks for speaking out, and thanks for coming on, sir. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll be back, folks, with Congressman Jim Jordan from Ohio. Talk IRS. Don't go away.